Hi, you've reached Kira. Leave me a message and I might call you back. Beep. Hey everyone, how's it going? I'm Kira Wackett. Thanks for joining me for another video as we work to empower and equip you with the confidence and skills to write your own story so that you can live your life on purpose. Today we're talking about the power of preemptive boundary setting and the reality that we have finite resources that demand protection. I listened to an interview with Diana Chapman on Tim Ferriss's podcast where she talked about boundary setting and communication. One of the things Tim was fascinated by was a voicemail greeting in which she said something to the effect of, "Leave a message. I may or may not respond to this call." Now, many of you probably had the same reaction as me. Well, that seems pretty rude. But is it? Have you ever gotten a voicemail, email, text, letter, whatever, to which you didn't want to respond, but you felt obligated? You call them back so they don't get mad at you or think you're rude, but feel annoyed, resentful, and overwhelmed by having to do it. See, Diana was protecting herself from that feeling. She took away the expectation of getting a call back and reserved the right to make a choice. Instead of giving her time away up front, she allowed the possibility of making an informed decision about if and when she would return a call. This is called a preemptive boundary, or a boundary set up in advance of an interaction that clarifies expectations and sets standards for the interaction. Time and energy are our most coveted resources, and yet they're often invested in spaces and with people to which we'd rather stop investing or at least limit those investments. But what makes this so hard? Shame. Shame, or the fear that people will be mad at or judge you for setting boundaries, and the mistaken belief that your job is to prioritize the asks and agendas of those around you over your own. Look, I know many of us are fixers, handlers, and task managers. We do it all for everyone and give yeses away like Oprah gives away new cars. This role is rooted in the internalized belief that who we are is less important than what we do and how we're perceived. We want people to see us as committed, caring, and invested. We don't want that to be the cause of someone else's distress. And over time, we convince ourselves that our needs are less important and that setting boundaries isn't only unnecessary, but hurtful and harmful to others. But the cost is that we're overextended and burnt out. We've eroded our boundaries at any sign of pushback and internalized a belief that self-care, boundaries, and nourishment are luxuries that we can live without. We exist in a place of scarcity, feeling like we'll never have enough time, we're always drained, we're worried about money, while continuing to invest in time and energy in places that deplete rather than replenish us. We anchor our self-worth on how others perceive us and become paralyzed by the fear of letting others down or disappointing them. So what can we do? We need to accept what isn't our responsibility and what's out of our control. This process is called radical acceptance and is about focusing on what is yours and not holding on to what's not. So a few things that aren't yours to hold on to. It's not your job to manage everyone else's feelings. You can't be working harder for someone else's life than they're willing to work for their own, or you're willing to work for yours. 2, it isn't your job to be available whenever someone else needs you. I often joke about this with my mom, as she always feels bad if she misses us trying to FaceTime so she can say hi to my daughter, Everly. I remind her that she didn't do anything wrong by living her life, and that would be unreasonable for me to expect she's free at any moment I call her unless we schedule it in advance. 3rd, you can't control how others will respond to your boundaries, nor are you responsible for it. They have a right to be upset, disappointed, hurt, angry, whatever, if you're unable to do or be everything that they want or need. That doesn't mean it's your job to make it better. Once you've practiced this form of radical acceptance, we need to move into action and set expectations up front. Too often, we wait to set boundaries until it's too late. Think about it. Would you rather know up front someone only has 5 minutes to talk, or wait until you start unloading all of your pain and frustration and have them tell you that they have to go? Let people know in advance what you can or are willing to give. If you only have 10 minutes, tell them. If you're unable to do X, tell them. Emotional investment is directly correlated with the length and depth of an interaction. So by setting boundaries at the beginning, you're eliminating the possibility for your or others' emotions to dictate setting and upholding boundaries. From here, we need to give ourselves the space to decide how we want to respond. So similar to this voicemail message, reserve the option to respond how best serves you. Now, for many of you, that might mean changing your voicemail message as soon as you finish this video. The biggest question I consider here is, how can I give myself space between an ask or a request and a response? Things I've done include using email footers that suggest prioritizing joy and connection over email, setting up autoresponders, and getting comfortable with the phrase, "Let me think about that," while also allowing others to feel disappointed when I don't give them a response right away. Next, learn what a yes feels like in your body. So in the same interview, Diana talked about the notion of uncovering a full body yes. The point in this exercise is to get clear on how our body responds to requests for time, money, and energy. So what does a yes feel like in your body? A no? And what about the gray area in between? Now, as you do this, many of us are going to find there are lots of spaces and places that we want to give our time or our energy to. The answer here is to learn, how can we give, but not give more than we take back? So we need to learn how to get clear on where our yeses are coming from. Is it rooted in shame and misguided obligation? Or is it rooted in your values and ideals? The long-term goal is to dismantle the belief system that exists that anchor your worth and value on others' appraisal of you. We have to allow the possibility that self-care, boundaries, and nourishment are a right, not a privilege. They're required rather than optional. We have to write a story that allows us to feel seen, safe, and heard, and makes our needs and wants a factor alongside others. Now, these steps, these 4 processes, can take a long time to move through, but the idea is to continue to go through them with curiosity, to use that open communication to set those expectations up front, and to learn as you go how your body's responding every time that you give your time or energy, or every time that you don't, to really recognize what aligns with your values, and again, really allows you to covet your resources and show up fully. So as we wrap for today, I want you to let us know what's sitting with you. What reactions do you have as you think about this? And what are you taking with you from this video? Be sure to check out the show notes for links to the resources I mentioned throughout this video and a few others to help you in the process of moving through shame and setting the boundaries you need, want, and deserve. If you haven't joined the AR Insider yet, be sure to click a link in the notes and get yourself on the list to get exclusive content and discounts I don't share anywhere else, and stay in the know on all of the new content and projects I'm working on. And if you like what you're hearing, give me a thumbs up, share the video with someone else who could benefit from it, and of course, hit that subscribe button to stay in the know on all the new content that comes out. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I truly love the opportunity to be with you all on your quest to take back the pen and author your own lives. See you next time.